Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for this online Public Information Center for the Upper West Side Integrated Municipal Class Environmental Assessment. This Public Information Center, or PIC for short, is being held virtually given the constraints associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we will provide you with information on the Integrated Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Study, or EA for short, that is currently underway. This presentation includes information on the project background, the Municipal Class EA process, the problem and opportunity statement, a description of the existing environmental conditions of the study area, the alternative solutions considered, the results of the evaluation of alternatives, and the next steps in the study. We encourage you to download for viewing a copy of these presentation slides from the project website. We also invite you to complete a comment sheet. Your input is very much appreciated and will be taken into consideration by the study team as part of the EA process. My name is Nick Wood, and I am one of the project managers for this study from Corbett Land Strategies, Inc. I am joined today by David Argue, the study's transportation lead from RJ Burnside and Associates Limited, Jennifer Vandermeer, the study's EA lead, also from RJ Burnside and Associates, and Desta Frey, the natural heritage lead from Natural Resource Solutions, Inc. Together, we are pleased to assist you through the 28 slides that form this presentation today on behalf of the study team and the Upper West Side Landowners Group. The study team for the Integrated EA is comprised of the Upper West Side Landowner Group and their consultants, who include Corbett Land Strategies, Inc., responsible for land use planning and group management services, RJ Burnside and Associates, responsible for transportation planning and providing integrated EA process management, Natural Resource Solutions, Inc., responsible for the assessments of ecological and natural heritage features, AMIC, responsible for archaeological assessments, Golder, responsible for cultural and built heritage, HGC Engineering, responsible for noise, Urban Tech, responsible for servicing stormwater and group engineering, Geomorphics, responsible for fluvial, geomorphological, EXP, responsible for hydrogeological and geotechnical, JD Barnes, responsible for the surveying of the subject lands, and NAC Design, responsible for urban design and streetscaping. This slide illustrates the study area for the Integrated EA, an approximate 200 hectare area bound by 20 Road West to the north, Dickinson Road West to the south, Upper James Street to the east, and Glancaster Road to the west. The study team is undertaking an integrated municipal class EA, which links the planning processes for several applications under review by the City of Hamilton with the municipal class environmental assessment process required for the proposed Gar Street extension and a network of collector and local roads that will be needed to support the proposed future development within the study area. Portions of the study area are located within the Airport Employment Growth District Secondary Plan, which includes a road network intended to accommodate the development of the area. The secondary plan acknowledges that further analysis is required to confirm the locations, type, and alignment of the road network. This EA will do just that. It will examine the road network for the study area identified within the AEGD secondary plan, as well as other alternative options, with the ultimate goal of selecting a preferred alternative, which will occur during phases 3 to 5.
This flowchart illustrates the 5 phases of the Municipal Class EA process. The proposed extension of Garth Street meets the definition of a Schedule C road project. There are several other roads required to support the proposed development within the block that would meet the definition of a Schedule C or Schedule B road project based on the Municipal Engineers Association Municipal Class EA document. Schedule B projects are required to complete phases 1 and 2. And Schedule C projects are required to complete phases 1 through 4. Phase 5 involves the implementation of the proposed road infrastructure improvements. The study team is currently in the process of completing phase 1 and 2. The results of the integrated EA process, including all input obtained from the public, will be documented in an environmental study report in phase 4 and provided to the public for a 30-day review period. The integrated approach allows the developer to follow the requirements of the Class EA process at the same time as the Planning Act application. The key is that the requirements of both acts must be met. The integrated approach provides the developer and the municipality with an opportunity to reduce duplication by simultaneously complying with the Planning Act and Class EA processes, including public consultation requirements, technical reports and analyses, land use planning, and environmental protection decisions. The integrated approach involves the completion of the procedural requirements of the Class EA based on whether the project is classified as a Schedule B or Schedule C project. The landowner group, as the proponent of the integrated EA, intends to follow the City of Hamilton's integrated planning process to fulfill the requirements of the EA process and submit the Upper West Side draft plan of subdivision. A problem and opportunity statement defines the purpose of a class environmental assessment. To develop the Upper West Side block development area subject to this study, the area must be serviced by a road network. The AEGD has indicated that the road network must accommodate various modes of transportation with consideration for impacts to the natural environment. To accommodate growth, a transportation network needs to be developed within the block area. If a road network and external improvements are not developed within the block area, the overall development cannot exist. The transportation network needs to accommodate planned growth within the AEGD, facilities that will accommodate a multitude of modes including pedestrian, cyclist, transit, vehicles, and goods movement, and create a transportation network that aligns with the goals of the AEGD.
The evaluation of the EA must include analysis of all applicable planning documents, including all provincial and local materials. These documents include the Provincial Policy Statement, Growth Plan, City of Hamilton Urban and Rural Official Plans, AEGD Secondary Plan, City of Hamilton Transportation Master Plans, and others. Each of these documents is to be consulted to understand the policy implications on the assessment of the road network. Additionally, each document has necessary inputs into the environmental assessment process. In particular, the City of Hamilton has prepared a guide to integrated planning processes, which sets out the framework to combine environmental assessments with planning application processes, such as draft plans of subdivision. This guide is informative for the work on this project, particularly as it allows the ability to enhance the consultation portions for both processes. In accordance with the Urban Hamilton Official Plan, much of the study area is designated as employment. However, 2 parcels are designated rural and subject to the policies of the Rural Hamilton Official Plan. Permitted uses within the employment designation include a range of manufacturing and airport supportive uses. Permitted uses within the rural designation are limited to agricultural activities and some infrastructure uses. The City has adopted the AEGD Secondary Plan, which reinforces the policies of the official plan and provides greater direction on permitted uses and development permissions within the secondary plan area.
Within the official plan, there are a number of transportation schedules and maps. Garth Street is illustrated as a collector road through the study area in Schedule C. However, the proposed extension is shown as a minor arterial road in the AEGD Secondary Plan Road Classification Map. 20 Road is classified as a major arterial roadway. Dickinson Road, Lancaster Road, and Trunty Road West are identified as minor arterial roadways. The transit routes and trail map illustrates transit service that will be provided on the boundary roads as well as through the study area. The AEGD Secondary Plan provides a road network of collector and arterial roads through the study area as illustrated on the road classification map. The AEGD Secondary Plan comprises 1,204 hectares of land, of which the study area is a component within the AEGD Secondary Plan. Lands within the study area are designated as Airport Prestige Business and Airport Related Business. The extension of Garth Street through the study area was identified as part of the secondary plan, and there are site-specific policy to lands abutting the general corridor limits. The AEGD Secondary Plan seeks to establish a multimodal transportation network that ensures an efficient movement of goods and people to and from the employment lands, accommodate innovations in goods and people movement, and create a sense of continuity between the employment lands and surrounding areas. As part of the study, there are several background studies being undertaken. The following subject area reports are being prepared: transportation, archaeological, built and cultural heritage, natural environment, hydrology, hydrogeology, geotechnical, fluvial geomorphology, drainage and stormwater management, and noise. Work has started on these studies and will continue. A transportation analysis has been undertaken for existing conditions, pre-COVID-19 that is. The existing roadway link volumes are shown. Under existing conditions, the roadway links are operating within the theoretical capacity of the roadway network. However, it is noted that the existing link volumes along the Upper James Street corridor utilize approximately 75% of the link capacity of the road. Under existing conditions, all area intersections are operating with excess capacity. The eastbound through left turn movement at the 20 Road Garth Street intersection is starting to approach capacity, we note. The AEGD secondary plan calls for development of lands within the secondary plan area. To accommodate this growth, it is necessary to add capacity of the road network and develop a transportation network to service the lands within the study area. The AEGD Secondary Plan Transportation Study developed traffic forecasts to 2031, and a road network was developed to support development within the AEGD Secondary Plan. The City is undertaking an update to the transportation study. The next steps for this study will be to refine the transportation study to determine the transportation network to support the development of the study area. Next steps are to refine the transportation study focused on the study area, develop and assess alternative road network alignment options, connectivity, lanes, transit, cycling, and pedestrian requirements.
Based on the Stage 1 archaeological assessment completed, the study area exhibits potential to yield archaeological deposits of cultural heritage value or interest. A Stage 2 archaeological assessment, which involves field surveys to assess presence of archaeological resources, is recommended for the majority of the study area. The field survey areas are illustrated on this slide. There are a few areas of low or no archaeological potential that may be excluded from the Stage 2 property assessment areas. Based on the Cultural Heritage Screening Report completed by Golder Associates, there are 26 known or potential cultural heritage resources in the study area, as illustrated in the figure on this slide. Further action is recommended if impacts to these resources cannot be feasibly avoided. There are also 17 municipally inventoried heritage properties and 9 potential cultural heritage properties in the study area. As the study progresses, the project team will determine an ideal solution for the road network that will avoid impacts to the cultural heritage resources as much as possible.
From a natural heritage perspective, there are several designated natural areas and habitats which are illustrated on this slide. There are 4 distinct significant woodlands, ranging in size from approximately 1.2 hectares to 12.5 hectares. These woodlands are comprised of deciduous forest and swamp vegetation communities. There are also portions of the Upper 20 Mile Creek provincially significant wetland complex, mostly in the eastern portion of the study area. Several small wetland vegetation communities that have not yet been evaluated using provincial criteria are also present. These areas are generally characterized by meadow marsh and thicket vegetation types. There are 19 different vegetation community types, which are illustrated on this slide, where each community is outlined in yellow. The study area generally consists of corn and soybean row crops and sod fields, hedgerows, meadow marsh and swamp thicket wetlands, cultural meadows and thickets, deciduous forests, and naturalizing former fruit orchard and golf course areas. Several mature deciduous forest communities of high quality are present, particularly in the southern portion of the study area. Wetlands provide important habitat for a variety of wildlife species at the landscape level, and also some support regionally rare species like the red-bellied snake. In addition to vegetation and trees, several other significant natural features and habitats are present. There is a network of headwater drainage features, also referred to as HDFs, that runs across the study area. These are intermittent watercourse features, like the one shown in the top left photo, that play a key role in conveying nutrients and sediments to downstream habitats. There are also a number of ecological linkages that are mapped in the study area according to the City of Hamilton official plans. An example is shown in the upper right-hand image. These are areas that include hedgerows and other small vegetation patches where wildlife and plants can move, propagate, forage, and use as stopover habitat. During ecological field surveys, confirmed habitat for species at risk protected under the Provincial Endangered Species Act was documented. Specifically, habitat and/or confirmed observations of butternut trees, barn swallows, which are shown in the bottom left photo, and 3 types of species at-risk bat were observed. Several significant wildlife habitat types, as defined through discrete criteria developed by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, are also present. These include turtle wintering and nesting areas, habitat for terrestrial crayfish, seeps and springs, wetland amphibian breeding habitat and movement corridors, and habitat of special concern and rare wildlife species. Lastly, aquatic habitat is present in the ponds like the one shown in the lower right image, as well as a few of the HDFs and wetlands in the study area. NRSI aquatic biologists have documented a fairly limited diversity of common fish species during surveys, for instance, largemouth bass and sunfish species like bluegill and pumpkinseed. NRSI will continue to work alongside the project team to determine an ideal solution for the road network that will avoid natural features and significant habitats as much as possible.
This slide illustrates the gentle undulating topography and existing surface water flow paths across the study area. The surface water flow is indicated with arrows on this map. Soils in the study area provide good to imperfect drainage. Regional groundwater flow is generally directed northward toward Lake Ontario. Locally, shallow groundwater discharges to 20 Mile Creek, although a portion of this shallow groundwater is interpreted to seep downward into the regional groundwater system. The northern portion of the study area contains several tributaries that traverse from west to northeast and cross 20 Road into existing developed lands to the north. A few small ponds have formed in depressions within the agricultural areas. The southern portion of the study area also includes a number of headwater swale features that drain from west to east toward Upper James Street, with several tributaries draining to the south to existing outlets along Dickinson Road West. 6 alternative solutions were identified as part of this integrated EA. The following 2 slides describe each alternative. Alternative 1, the do-nothing alternative, is always considered as part of the EA process. In the context of this study, the do-nothing alternative would mean that only regular maintenance of the existing transportation system around the perimeter of the development area would be undertaken. Road and relative infrastructure required to support development would not be planned or coordinated with land use planning. Alternative 2, limit community growth, would involve a dramatic reduction or stopping of all future growth plans in the study area to stay within existing transportation system capacities. Alternative 3, transit expansion, would involve the implementation of transit system improvements to reduce the need for additional road capacity. Alternative 4, managed transportation demand, would involve the implementation of a variety of measures to encourage alternative means of transportation over private vehicles. Alternative 5 would involve improvements such as signal controls or intersection changes or widening of other roadways in proximity to the study area. Finally, Alternative 6 would involve a full development of a road network including collector and arterial roads within the block area. Several criteria and subcriteria have been established to guide the evaluation of the alternative solutions. As shown on this slide, these criteria fall into 7 major areas, including natural environment, transportation, built environment, social-economic environment, cultural environment, land use, and financial environment. This slide illustrates the results of the evaluation of alternative solutions. Each alternative is assigned a rank in the form of a pie shape for the 7 major criteria. A ranking of a full pie is most preferred, while a ranking of an open pie is least preferred. The ranking order of preference appears at the bottom of this slide. As the first 4 alternatives do not meet the problem opportunity statement, they are not carried forward for further consideration. Alternative 5 ranks marginally higher than Alternative 6 for natural environment, since more natural area is anticipated to be impacted by Alternative 6. From a cultural and financial environment perspective, Alternative 5 and 6 are comparable. For all other criteria, Alternative 6 is more favorable than Alternative 5 because it fully supports existing and future development. On balance, Alternative 6 is recommended to be carried forward to the next stages of the project. The Develop New Transportation Network to accommodate proposed development is identified as the preliminary preferred alternative solution as it best addresses and supports the problem opportunity statement, the AEGD secondary plan, the Hamilton Urban Official Plan, and the provincial A Places to Grow document. The study team proposes to carry this solution forward to Phase 3 of the Municipal Class EA process, which identifies and evaluates alternative design concepts for the identified solution. This slide illustrates the estimated next steps in the integrated EA study. This presentation is available for viewing until May 31, 2021, following which the study team will review all input received from public, stakeholder, and agencies and select a preferred solution. The study team will then proceed to Phase 3 of the EA process, whereby they will identify design alternatives for collector and arterial transportation network, complete supporting studies, and evaluate the design alternatives. The results of Phase 3 will be presented in a second Public Information Center. Once Phase 3 is complete, the study team will proceed to the final phase of the integrated EA, Phase 4, which involves the documentation of the study findings in a comprehensive environmental study report, or ESR. The ESR is provided to the public for a 30-day review period at the conclusion of the study. We value your input to this integrated EA study. A copy of this presentation is available for download from the project website. You will also find a comment form on the website you can use to provide us with your feedback. Please complete and submit a comment form to the email address noted on this slide by May 31, 2021. If you have a specific question for the study team or would like to be added to the project contact list, please email or contact one of the representatives noted on this slide. On behalf of the Upper West Side Landowners Group, CLS, Burnside, and the study team, we would like to thank you for viewing the presentation materials and participating in this PIC. We look forward to receiving your input.